Back by popular demand and smaller than ever, today we're going to be looking at the Steel Will Mini Apostate. And I say mini because, you like that? I'm going to start doing those. Because I've seen on the blade itself, it just says Apostate. It is smaller than the original that Steel Will released the first year that they came out. And I've seen certain parts say mini, certain other places just say Apostate. Either way, it's the mini, because I originally, a few years ago, when this first came out on the market, it was right when Steel Will was starting to produce knives, tested out. Their full size was like, I believe, over 4 inches, just over 4 inches. Apostate was impressed with the materials, the capability, all that it had to offer, but it was a big pocket knife. Then over the time, it got discontinued. They dropped production, but I believe just because so many people have been clamoring for it, they decided to reproduce it, but bring it down slightly in size, which I'm really excited about. We're gonna run in competitive options. We're gonna talk capabilities today and show you what this knife, I feel like it's a blade that would come out of Tron, you know, or something like that, you know, that somebody walking the Tron universe would be carrying. It's a sick blade, but do those lines cause hot spots, cause problems? Are there any drawbacks, or is this just all around sick? You know, better than day on a light cycle running through the course on Tron Legacy. You know, that's what we're going to talk about today, look at and break down for us with this mini Apostate. Now, it being the quote-unquote mini, again, it just says Apostate on it, but I've seen certain places where it calls it the mini. Again, the original being about 4.1, this one being 3.65, 3.7. I've seen a couple different measurements. Mine's right around there. Overall, like the cutting edge, when I measured it with my tape measure from the G10 point to the tip, it was like 3.65 on the overall cutting edge, or yeah, from here to there, but then the edge kind of comes in, so it's right around that. It's just a hair over 3.5 inches overall, so they have brought it down from the 4.1 of the original. Now, it does have a flatter high saber grind, which I love. That's awesome. Zero complaints there. Really performs well with that good edge geometry. They call it a predatory drop point. I love that terminology. And I love that like swedge up there, not by any means making it sharp, but man, does it give it strength. And back by the thumb stud, you're going to be looking at 0.16 and then tapering down. So it's definitely a strong, thick, beefy folder, more of a tactical feel, more of a hard utility feel to it, but still being able to do a lot of EDC tasks rather well. Now, obviously thinner, slimmer blades will absolutely slice better with cardboard and, you know, fine cutting, but this can absolutely hold its own in that regard. This one has kind of an acid wash on it. You can see there's a little bit of wear based off of all of our use, but it's holding up really, really well. And that will bring us to the steel, as you can see right there, S35BN CPM, S35BN steel. Really impressed with that, but I love that blade shape and the wash. And for a larger, kind of strong utility knife, wow, is it not only looking cool, but also performing really well. That S35VN CPM, it's great. I love that type of steel. It's actually pretty easy to work with in the field, put a good edge on it, but will hold its edge for a very long period of time, which I really enjoy. All right, so we're gonna hit this blade when it comes to the deployment. Now we have two different options. We have a really nice thumb stud on both sides there that also acts as the stop bar. There is no stop pin or stop bar. The thumb studs operate that way. Or we have our flipper right here with some jimping. A little abrupt. I would have liked to see a little bit more of a natural flipper there. It's not sharp by any means. It does run with the line, so I mean it matches the profile, but it is more abrupt than I prefer, but very easy to engage. That thing whips right open. Or you can use those thumb studs if that's more what you prefer, and flip it open just as easily that way. So it is ambidextrous with the flipper and the thumb studs, and they kind of have scalloped in the G10 and the titanium, so that either side you could easily deploy it that way. And then the pocket clip is ambidextrous, obviously, as well. And I like that the one thing that is good is that the flipper is not like so super huge and abrupt that if you just want to do thumb studs, you're not really a flipper person, it's not so obnoxious that you're like, ugh, I just feel forced to use it. It almost kind of seems to run flush with the front end of the knife, even though it doesn't. It's just kind of the way it is. Now, this does run on ceramic ball bearings, so it's really nice and smooth, no grittiness, flies open for being a larger folder, and then just drops right into place. Good detent, but if I really want to whip it, I can. So really good in all that regard. And then you are going to have dead centering there on the blade as well, no floating left or right. All the lines match up very nicely. Now we do have a titanium liner lock, or frame lock, a titanium frame lock, my bad. Really well done there. They have even put in the stainless steel attachment right there to hit the back of the spine, which is really nice. And so with the ball bearings and the frame lock, I actually don't have any wobble side to side or up and down, which is really nice. Normally with ball bearings, you have a slight pivot side to side. I don't have any of that with this particular model. It is nice that it's not titanium on steel, so you get that weird gritty feeling. It's really nice and smooth to remove the liner, or excuse me, I keep saying liner, the frame lock. So I really like that aspect of it. Very solid, very strong, really working well. My only critique overall is that the G10, you can see here, is flush or just about flush with that frame lock. They did put a little bit of jimp right there where you would put your thumb to disengage. But you really got to kind of put the meat of your thumb in there a little bit, depress and close. It's not super intuitive with gloves on. It would have been nice if they had just brought down, and I mean, you could do it, it's just G10 on this side. So if you're a righty, you could, or even if you're a lefty and you just do it in the reverse, you could do it. You could use a Dremel and just bring up the G10 ever so slightly. And I'm not talking a lot, I'm talking like maybe a millimeter. Would give you just enough to catch it a little bit better because it is flush. It means great ergonomics up here near your finger, but the lock, you just have to kind of focus on closing it more so than some other frame locks that I've seen out there. So that was the only critique and kind of note that I want to give you. It by no means kills the functionality of the locking mechanism. You just kind of dig your beefiness of your thumb in there a little bit more and disengage the lock. And with gloves, it's a little trickier. Now, I just love the lines overall on this design. You can just see there how cool that looks, man. It just flows really, really well together and fills out my large size hands nicely. I wear large size gloves. Many of you know that if you've been watching the channel. What I like is that we have nice little bit of jimping right back here on the handle. Nothing that's super sharp or painful, but definitely would give me grip with a very slight ramp. Then we have that finger guard working in with the cut-in, or the flipper working as a finger guard with the cut-in, so I'm really locked in. I'm not going to accidentally slide up and hurt myself, even in a reverse grip. I mean, I got a lot of traction there. They give you jimping on the back piece right here of this titanium, so you're really gripped, locked into place that way as well. Again, giving you that feel of kind of a utility tactical folder. You've got medium grit G10 on one side. You can, I believe they have them in a couple different color combinations that are out there. Good transitions that aren't sharp. They've milled them really well on that G10. And then giving you that titanium spacer and then some flow through. And then on the back side, same thing. You kind of got a titanium that's kind of smoky a little bit, but again, matching that transitions very nicely. And even the pocket clip with the titanium doesn't feel like clunky or bad or, or anything like that, causing any sort of hot spots or anything. So you can definitely hold this for a long period of time and really enjoy using it. Now, the great thing is with the titanium, the G10 kind of being beefier, the handle overall is 5 inches, overall length being 0.59 on the thickness, so definitely thicker, and being on a height of 1.25 inches. I mean, that's a big handle. You'd expect to be pretty heavy, right? 4.8 ounces, under 5 ounces, because they machined and milled out that titanium in there even a little bit. And then again, one side being G10, one side being titanium. Great weight class for how big this blade is and the design of it. They really did a really good job with that. But that's going to be a really good, beefy, full handle. Going to get a lot of work done for you. Now, you could even use in some choking up scenarios. This flats right here is big enough that I can choke up and kind of use the ricasso as a finger choil and even get finer cutting done that way as well. Right there, it wouldn't be my first choice for an outdoor knife, but the handle ergonomics definitely are intuitive for that because of how full the handle is and very kind of natural. There's no weird, crazy, abrupt line. So you could use it in that regard if you wanted to, but I would say it's more of a beefy EDC or a tactical utility knife. Now, finally, on to price and competitive options. Looking forward to doing this here with you. Now, this is going to run you about $170. It is made in China, but as we've seen from many brands and many companies, the fit and finish is extremely well done. The quality control, and I've used many steel wheel knives over the years, and they always have attention to detail, good quality control. It doesn't really have an issue with me as long as the fit and finish and all the materials match up. I'm seeing good, depending on the company, and Steel Wheel is one of those companies that really does a good job, really regardless of where I see the blade coming from. Now, right now, you can pick these up on not only GP Knives, but also Blade HQ for $170. We will have links for you guys in the description below. We appreciate when you use those hyperlinks, and as soon as they're available on Amazon, you'll see those links as well. And also check out those other links that we offer to you to Backcountry.com, Mystery Ranch, 511 Tactical now, and Knock Around Sunglass Company. We appreciate when you guys purchase through the links that we offer to you. So I think you're getting a lot of knife for $170. Just to give us some competitive options, another steel wheel knife. This one is the Tasso. This is M390 steel. I can't remember if it's made in China or Italy, this knife. Same price, 170 bucks. G10 all the way through though, no titanium. They have their ant lock on here, a different type of locking mechanism, really cool. Really like that a lot. Kind of like an Axis lock, kind of not. It's kind of like a mixture between that and a lock back. You do have a ricasso that you could use as a finger choil. It definitely has a clip. Great G10. I mean, it's a sweet, sweet blade. The M390, I will hold its edge longer, but I like S35VN, excuse me, steel on the Apostate a little bit better because it's a little easier to work with, in my opinion. So that's just something to note there, but exactly the same price if you're looking for something maybe a little more natural, something that has not quite as the lines, but similar quality and fit and finish and those type of things. Steel Wheel does have that full-size Tasso there that's comparable and is a great option. Now for S35VN, made in Taiwan, we have the Bush Ranger from Cold Steel. That's S35VN steel again. G10 handles, no titanium. It's a lock back, very big, full size, you know, tactical, outdoorsy kind of folder. It's definitely on the beefy, heavier side. That one's going to run you about $130 on average. Again, links below for you. That's another option out there. Now, again, it won't have the titanium. It won't have ball bearings. So if those are things that connect with you, obviously that's what you're going to be paying for, like whatever that is. What is that? $40 more for that on the Steel Wheel Apostate. And then I don't have actually a lot of titanium blades right now. The only one that I have that I could roll in here is a USA made one, and this is the Zero Tolerance J.R. Martin 0609, and this has CPM 20 CV, very premium steel, amazing. We have the KVT ball bearing system, titanium that's just like out the wazoo. Smaller, more light duty knife for sure, compared to the Apostate, just so you can see there, much more EDC friendly. That one's going to be like 120, or sorry, 220, but that's because of the USA made, the higher quality steel, and the more attention to the milling on the titanium. So those are just things though that I wanted to point out to you, give you competitive options. Now, Steel Wheel did send this over to me to test out, review. I requested it because I did the original review on the original Apostate like that, so I wanted to try this slightly smaller version, and this is everything, and actually I believe an actually more usable knife than the original Apostate because of the slightly smaller capability. But I wanted to test it out to give you guys my feedback, give you competitive options, show you what I like about it, maybe any drawbacks to help you make a wise choice, giving you all the data that you need to know whether or not this new quote-unquote mini Apostate is going to be the right tool for you, or some of these other blades I'm showing you are more suited for your needs. Well, there you have it, folks. I hope that this video has been entertaining, fun, answered any questions that you may have had about the blade. If I missed something, please ask, and I would love to answer them for you in the comments below. I think this makes just a lot more sense to me and my usage, and I think for a lot of people over that big, giant, massive original model that they had. And I think that this is going to be a staple because I've always heard, especially when they discontinued the first model, many people commenting, you know, on that original video, like, dude, where could I find one? Are you selling yours? Like, do you have your original? You know, just because it does have a lot of good materials, fit and finish, lines for a good price. I mean, and it's sweet, and it kind of stands out from the crowd of other folders in that price range and material range. So guys, thank you so much for coming over today. Check us out on Instagram, Facebook, all the social media. Love to hear you guys' thoughts. And yeah, hit that other video popping up. Subscribe if you're not a current subscriber. Become part of the GT family over here. And always remember, stay equipped, stay prepared, and we'll see you out there.